Hello there, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time today to download Mood Food Podcast. Today's podcast is titled Don't Be Judgmental. I'm your host, Jason Gordon. The views, opinions, and positions expressed in this podcast called Mood Food are in no way the views, opinions, and positions of the Department of the Air Force, the Department of Defense, the United States government, including resources listed during today's podcast. Shout outs out there. We really appreciate all of our listeners who are so faithful, and we are grateful for you. I have some great news. We are now broadcasting from all of the continents on the planet Earth. Can you believe that? I give all the credit and the kudos to all of you out there that continue to spread the word about the podcast and download it. And we are so grateful that you are taking the time to listen. Let us hear from you. Please email us at moodfoodpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook. It's very easy to find. It's Mood Food Podcast. And let us hear from you. Let us know where you are listening from and how you are doing. If you have downloaded us from one of the platforms out there and it allows you to give a review, please take time to do that. We would greatly appreciate that. And keep reviewing the items that I've been sharing with you weekly. We really appreciate you taking the time to take them seriously and apply them to your personal life. We are here to help. We are here for you. And the more you review, the more you will see yourself making that amazing progress that you can be sincerely proud of that you've accomplished it. And when you are provoked, you'll be able to make it through those situations, hopefully more productively, with less of an emotional impact on you. And remember that reviewing is part of your mood food diet. And as I said earlier, today's podcast is called Don't Be Judgmental. And this is kind of a personal story I'm sharing with everyone, and it recently happened. I was torn up about it. I was debating on whether I should even talk about it, but during today's times, I think it's very important that we embrace diversity instead of divide it. And this experience was one that I thought I was past emotionally. I thought that I was not going to be affected by it. But it's these tests that really can make us feel vulnerable, can really make us feel like there's a lot of work to do still. So when I share this story with you, forgive me for being emotional about it, because it really was impactful on me. All right. And so this is a personal story, as I just said. And so a couple of Saturdays ago, we were listening to a radio station located in Northern California that has several radio stations throughout the United States. And we've been listening to the station since like 2014. We are regular donors to the radio station. And, I listen to the station in New Mexico and Guam and Korea, all over, because they stream online. The radio station is a Christian format and is actually a really positive station to listen to. And so during the evening broadcast a couple of Saturdays ago, on that particular night, the announcer was voicing some of his political views and on the airwaves there. And it wasn't very positive at all. And so I felt, okay, I've been a radio DJ before at Christian radio stations, and I know the importance of that ministry. I know the impact that ministry has within that given area of their broadcast range. And the impact is huge. There's a lot of people who can't go to services. There's a lot of people who that's their only source of information. And so I kindly sent a Facebook message to the station just asking if the announcer could just stick to the mission and the values of the station. But what I didn't know was that that message went to the station manager. And so I received a message from the station manager that he would take care of my concern. And it was just a basic concern. It wasn't anything like I was just like grilling the guy for being opinionated, but it was just very negative. And I felt like that I needed to say something. When you see something, you say something, right? And so what happened is you will not believe what happened next, okay? It really caught me off guard. And like I said, forgive me for getting emotional about this. But the following Saturday, when that same announcer that I had reported being political came back on the air, he immediately called out my concerns on the air. And I didn't really think anything, it didn't bother me. I'm going to get to the point to when it started to bother me. And so throughout the broadcast, he made very demeaning comments and little jabs that he knew I was listening. He also made statements that directly reflected the wording that I used in my thought was private message to the station manager. He made it blatantly clear that he was behind a microphone and knows who said these things. I thought through the whole process, trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it got more and more specific in regards to what this person was doing behind the microphone of this radio station. It troubled me so much, I'm telling you. And so I knew for a fact that my identity had been shared with this DJ. I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know. But then I realized that this DJ looked up my profile on Facebook. And then he used my personal life against me while using the airwaves of a very popular radio station. It totally caught me off guard, as I mentioned earlier. I was really hurt by the awful things that the announcer stated that were directly aimed at me. I felt violated, intruded upon, and totally deflated. It definitely reminded me of the times that my biological dad would really lash out about who I am as a person, my lifestyle, especially when he would consume alcohol. I felt like the announcer was like being a bully and a bigot and extremely judgmental, hiding behind the microphone. I immediately contacted the station. No one would answer the phone. I messaged them on Facebook again, knowing that very well I could be setting myself up again for more humiliation, jabs, and judging. I just could not sit there, though, and let this volunteer think that he could just say and do what he wants behind the microphone, spreading a message of hate instead of hope. I respect all religious reviews, don't get me wrong, and opinions, but I have no room for judgmental behavior. No one has a right to judge anyone by who they are as a person, what the color of their skin is, who they sleep with at night. And while I waited for a reply from the radio station, I kept thinking about a song titled God Only Knows. And I don't own the rights to this song or the lyrics, but it's a very good song. It has Dolly Parton in it. If you haven't heard it, it's a really good song. But I wanted to share it with all of you to hopefully put into you that this will hopefully help you, that when you start to feel like that you are being judgmental and you have these preconceived ideas about people and your biases, that you'll keep them in check, that you will decrease those judgments about people that have different views from you, who are different from you, your thoughts about particular races and cultures, because you don't know what this person has been through, their history, their past, their heritage. And so right now I'm going to share the words to this song with you because they are very important, because I kept thinking about the words the entire time waiting to hear back from this radio station. I mean, I thought I was like over and I was more secure in myself. I am, but maybe I had expectations and hopes that other people would be accepting. And then I realized how far that we really haven't come as a nation at respecting people for who they are, contributing members of society about what they offer and bring to the table, diversifying conversations, businesses, life. So here are the words to that song. Wide awake while the world is sound asleepin', too afraid of what might show up while you're dreaming. Nobody sees you. Nobody would believe you. Every day you try to pick up all the pieces, all the memories. They somehow never leave you. Nobody sees you. Nobody would believe you. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows the real you. And there's a kind of love that God only knows. I don't know what was going through that guy's mind that night, but it wasn't, he wasn't thinking about what people have been through and the lives that they have had to have overcome, the obstacles that they've had to overcome to get where they are today. And I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for the good Lord watching out for me, introducing me to people that are amazing, that didn't put me down, but lifted me up and believed in me. I could never repay anyone out there, and you know my story, I could never repay the folks that have been involved in my life for all of the influences that they have had on me, the positiveness, the uplifting, the encouraging. And so I kept saying the lyrics over and over to this song, hoping to get a call from the station manager. And while running on the treadmill, my phone rang today, actually. And it was the radio station manager. And so during the call, I kept my cool. I was a good boy, I promise. I didn't cuss. I was a good boy. I kept it very professional because I wanted him to know the seriousness of the impact of what this had on me. But not only me, but I'm sure there are other listeners, because this radio station goes pretty much everywhere as long as the internet's functioning. But they have standing towers and stuff too, so they have other stations that kind of go by the same broadcast signal. And so during the call, he told me that he was able to go back and listen to the broadcast from the other night, and he acknowledged my concerns. He validated my thoughts and feelings about being attacked and assured me that this would never happen again on his watch. He shared that although he does not agree with my lifestyle, it is not his place or the radio station's place, or anybody there at the radio station, or anybody in existence for that matter, to judge anyone. And for that, he apologized on behalf of the station. I prayed when I was running. This is the weird thing. Not weird, but it's an amazing thing. It's a God thing. I was running, and I prayed that I would hear, because I needed closure on this. It was really consuming me from the inside out. And that's when my phone rang. I was praying, and my phone rang, and it was him. And so he listened to my concerns and reiterated to me that he was going to take care of it once again. But I was still worried about my privacy, because this guy had already been on Facebook and basically used my personal life against me on national radio. But my point of the story today is you never know what people have been through. Okay, you never know the reasons why they are the way they are. No matter what you believe, don't judge people that are different from you. You may not agree with them, but don't judge them. If you are on the receiving end of being judged, which I believe everyone can say they actually have been, if you've been breathing, I'm sure you've been judged. Don't allow people to take your spirit. Don't allow people to steal your joy for life, your zest for life, and who you are. Don't allow people, negative people, mean-spirited people, to take your identity, try to confuse you. Be strong. Fight for what you believe in. Even if the odds are against you, even if certain beliefs are not supportive of you, you be you, and be proud of who you are. And tell others about your life and about who you are. Tell your story. Be proud of your story. You've worked hard. You've lived through you know what to get to where you are, but you're a survivor. And you made it. The strongest person alive, in my opinion, is a person that is comfortable with themselves and is confident. Even when you are tired and you feel like there is no more fight left in you, don't give up. Never give up. Personally, I have fought my entire life to be where I am today and to exist where I am today. And I hope that all of you out there will do the same, because after all, God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what people say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that whatever you believe in, that your God only knows, and that is all that matters. So I'm asking people out there, hang in there, everyone, as we learn more about each other. Be patient with each other. Love each other, even though you may not agree with the different beliefs and lifestyles or whatever. It may be a buffet of differences, but be polite to each other. Respect each other. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for today's broadcast of Mood Food. And please make sure that you subscribe to us, you rate us, you like us, you recommend us to all of your family and friends. And remember the disclaimer at the beginning, I'm sticking to that. And remember to keep your mind full of positive mental food, and that involves also keeping positive people in your life that are going to build you up, that believe in you, no matter who you are, or what you look like, or what you believe. I'm going to leave you today with a quote that I found, and I really like this quote. And I don't know who the person is, because pretty much anything on the internet there's no telling who thought of it and who wrote it. It's just up there. So I found it, and it really spoke to me today. So I hope that it speaks to you as well. But it says, "You deserve to be happy. You deserve to live a life you are excited about. Don't let others make you ever forget that." Thank you for your time today, everyone. I sincerely appreciate you and what you have done to this podcast and putting it out there on the worldwide airwaves. We could not have made it, completed it, done it without you, and I give you all the credit. We thank you again for listening to Mood Food Podcast, and until next week, I'm your host, Jason Gordon.